a son. He was devoured by earth. There was a God. They call him the Father. And there was a means to make a valley with grace out of this hole that I've dug for me. He made a valley of grace where things would change, and maybe they'd take up the cross high again. The valley of grace was never the same after he had died.
You're doing that. So
Right.
like I just had, it was just automatic. I didn't even mean to hit him, but it was just like I just hit him, and then and then
Mhm.
of course now the blame's on me. Oh, you hit me. I can't believe you did that, and how dare you, and you're this and you're that. And that was just the day that I just was so overwhelmed. I was like, get out of my car. He wouldn't get out of my car. He was screaming at me, like hitting my
Mhm.
dashboard, just like screaming at the top of his lungs. And then I left. I went to my friend's house. He followed me to her house and made a big scene, and I
Oh,
was so
wow.
embarrassed. That's like not the type of person I am, like the type to make a scene and drama outside. And I was just like, and then after all that happened, I went to pick up my daughter. Then we went home. I was in the living room. He was in the bedroom. Then he comes out with his hands on his hips and he's like, "So what do you have to say for yourself?" And I was just like, that was finally where I finally just got the like light bulb. And I
The
was
light
like,
bulb, yeah.
this man does not respect you. He doesn't care about you. You have to just be done. And
Mhm.
I didn't really know at the point that I was done. I just knew I needed a break from him. So I told him, I need you to leave the house for a couple of days, go to your parents' house, maybe a day or two, and we'll talk about it. I just need space right now. He's like,
Mhm.
okay. But then the first night he was gone, I felt the biggest peace, like the biggest sense of peace, and like my house was peaceful again, and it was the most beautiful
Mm.
feeling, and I had missed it because it had been so long since it had felt like that. And that
Yeah.
was kind of when I knew, okay, this is not good. I thought I was
This
going to
is
miss him
not.
and be like, come on, let's work it out. But no, every day he was gone, the more I didn't want him, the more I was done with the relationship.
Mhm.
And then came the still trying to control me part. He wouldn't give me back my house keys. We had a
Oh,
dog
wow.
together, wouldn't let me see the dog unless he can come into the house, and just a lot of
Oh,
wouldn't pick up his stuff because he wanted to be able to come to get it whenever he felt like it, and just things like little things like that that he was still
yeah.
trying to control me with. And then I was just like, no, I'm done with the whole situation. And and then after that I know that relationship was very traumatic, but at the same time, I needed to go through that because that was the relationship that made me realize my worth. That was where
Yes.
I was like, no, I don't deserve this. I'm a good woman. I work hard. I'm a good mom.
Mhm.
Like, I deserve somebody that values me and loves me and respects me and doesn't treat me like crap. And that's actually going to contribute to the household financially because he financially abused me as well. And I was just, that was the relationship that made me realize it. So that's why I say a lot of the crappy things that have happened, I am thankful for because it did bring me to where I'm at and it made me realize my worth. That was the thing that
Mhm.
I had to let him, like, allow him to treat me like crap for such a long time. But then I realized, like, you don't deserve this. You're worth
Right.
so much more. And now I definitely know my value. And it's totally worth doing all that hard work.
Oh, my word. It definitely is. Why do you think women stay in unhealthy relationships so long?
So I do think that it can be a learned behavior. A lot of the times I think these people were raised in an abusive household to begin with. So they grew up seeing abuse, or, whether that's emotional abuse or domestic abuse. So, when you grew up in a household like that, you start to think that this is just the world, this is normal. So then you go on to live your life and get into the same type of relationship. So I do think that it could be that. And then I also
Mhm.
think on the other side, I think it could also be maybe they've gone through something where they don't think that they're valuable, they have low self-esteem, they don't think they deserve anything better. And unfortunately, when you feel like that, when you don't have like good self-esteem and you don't feel good about yourself, that's like a narcissist perfect victim. They
Oh,
want
wow.
they
Yes.
want women that are broken and that have low self-esteem because that's their perfect person that they know they can take advantage of. And that's
Hmm.
unfortunately, I think, how it starts too. So it's always us having to like do that inner work on ourselves so that other people don't take advantage. But I do think a lot of it is from learned behavior, from growing up seeing it and something, whether it was your parents
Hmm.
or maybe your grandparents or another person that maybe you looked up to and things like that. But yeah, that's why
Hmm.
and then staying so long too, also with narcissists, I think narcissists, they keep us in fear. That's what they're supposed to do. The only reason we're with a narcissist is because they intimidate us, they put fear in us, and they control us. So like when women are going through this stuff, it's because they're fearful, just like me. I was scared to make this guy mad because I knew we were going to fight for hours or whatever. He would get whatever, throw a temper tantrum, and he also used to like punch holes in the walls and throw things and break things. And yeah, and I
Mm.
never, well, I was in relationships like that before, but that one was just very like explosive. you know
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, and yeah,
Wow.
I think it's also because they're scared to leave. A lot of women, I think too, and not just women, I think men too are scared to be alone. A lot of people are, and including myself. I was very codependent on people, on men at one point in my life, and even people too, friendships I was codependent on. I was very scared to be alone. And I think that's
Hmm.
the thing, we're scared to be alone. But sometimes when you're alone, that's when you're learning things and doing things. Cause so after that relationship, I was single for 3 years, and it was so life changing because that I was like, I was going to start dating again after him. I remember I was having a conversation with my twin, and
Hmm.
I was telling her, "Oh, I'm talking to this guy." And she was like, "Jenny," she was like, "You just got in a relationship like a little while ago." She's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "You spent your whole entire 20s dating shitty guys." Excuse my language, if that's what she said. She's like, "Do you want to spend your 30s the same way?" And that was my light bulb moment. And I was like, she's right. No, I don't want to spend my 30s that way either. I want to like live my best life right now. I'm young
Hmm.
still. And so that conversation was pretty life-changing for me too, because I actually stopped dating and I really focused on myself, and I started going on vacations and just doing
Hmm.
things, started learning more about myself, doing things I liked, and just traveling and just doing whatever that I enjoyed. And I really found myself in that time. And I learned to be okay with being in my own company, which was really hard for me to do before. I was very codependent on people. I had this thing about being alone that it made me feel
Hmm.
so uncomfortable. But there's nothing wrong with being alone, like it's like you enjoying your own company. A lot of times
Right.
that's what we do need. We do need that time alone and that time to reflect and the time to think and all that stuff. And I think it helps us grow, honestly. And that was really life changing for me. So I do think that a lot of people don't want to be alone, and it's scary, but it's like, what's the scary like there's nothing that's bad that's going to happen because you're alone. And I just
Hmm.
think it's a matter of getting used to it. But I do think the biggest thing is people are scared of being lonely. And then also I think too, like praying, you're never alone. Like now that
Right.
I'm at the place
Right.
that I'm at now, we're never alone. Like God is always there. We can always talk to him, and that's the person we should be codependent on. That's the person we
Yes.
should lean on when we need someone to
Yes.
talk to, or a friend to talk to, or when we're feeling lonely, like, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. That's just something that
Hmm.
I've experienced in my journey.
Oh, yes, for sure. I agree with you 100%. I was talking to my mother about that a couple of weeks ago. I said that in this one particular group that I'm in, and I told her, I said, to each its own. I just feel like the women are focusing more on getting a man than other
Mhm.
things that you can do as a single person. I told her, I said, it's more to life than just having a man.
Yeah,
I told
you're
her, I said,
right.
you know what I'm saying? And
I
I,
think, you know what I think too? I think
what's
it's
that?
society, though. Society has told us we're not complete until we have a man. And that was my problem. I
Mm,
always thought I had to look for a man to be a father to my kid, because
right.
Because society looked down on me for being a single mom too.
They
It
do,
did,
it
because
does.
my own
Yes.
family did it to me, because both my sisters were married at one point. I was the only one that was a single mom, and I always felt like everybody looked at me as less than because I was doing this on my own. So I always felt like this need to go find someone to complete my family, but that's
Right.
not always true. Sometimes the complete family is the mom and the kid, or the kid and the dad, or
Yes.
and that's what it is. But I think society puts these norms, or what we should
Hmm.
be, into our head. So then we think we have to have a man to be happy. We think we have to have, tons of money to be happy. We think we have to have this big,
Right.
gorgeous house to be happy. And it's not always true. It's what
Hmm.
makes you happy, what is valuable to you. I know now helping women is my passion. And that's what makes me
Yes.
really happy. Like every
Hmm.
day, knowing that I'm making a difference in other people's lives, that's what drives me. But before it
Yes.
was, oh, I have to find a man because, I won't be happy otherwise. But that's just
Right.
this misconception that society has drilled in our minds, unfortunately. And
Isn't
a lot
that
of
the
people,
truth?
yeah,
Yep. The society has put there. Yeah. I said, in our singlehood, as the scripture said, that's when when you're married, your drive is going to be toward want to do things for your husband. But then when you're single, that's when you can really do things for the Lord,
hmm,
volunteering, sharing scripture together, going out and
yeah,
doing things together, praying for one another. It's so
hmm,
many different things. Mentoring other,
yep,
teenage girls or women that's younger than you. It's so many different things that we can do. But like you said, between society and the devil himself, wanting us to think that the only way we can be happy is that we're tying it into a male. You know what I'm saying?
right,
And
yeah,
yeah, it's unfortunate. But like I said, I was just sharing that with her. The thing about it is, it's so funny how the Holy Spirit works. Um, Probably a week and a half later, another lady spoke up. I think we're spending too much time on it. I say, it's not just me. Focusing on getting a man.
yeah,
Yeah, but that's
yeah. And it's
something
like,
how
and
God works.
I think too, when we really focus on ourselves and really like, you know, just love ourselves. You can't
Hmm.
really love other people until you really love yourself. And then I think when you really learn to love yourself and value yourself, you will never allow a man to treat you any less than how you love yourself. And that's what happened to me. My self-esteem and my expectations for men were so freaking low before. It was just like you just have to be cute and be fun. That was my, like,
Right.
my standards at one point. And then it was like, no, now you have to have a job, now you have to have a house, that you have to have everything. At the very least, that I have my own house, my own car, I have my own money, I pay my own
Hmm.
bills, I'm independent. You should at the very least
Yes.
have the same thing. And once you do that, then you're not going to allow anybody to treat you any less when you love your own self, and that was something that I struggled with for a long time, because for a long time I didn't think I deserved that, because I had that guilt
Yes.
and shame because of all the stuff that had happened in the past. So I didn't think I was worthy of anything better, until I finally realized, like, yes, you are. You're amazing. Like, look, you've been raising this
Yes.
little girl by yourself all these
Hmm.
years. Like, there's so many people out there that can't do that, and you've been doing it on your own with no help, with no support, no financial support. I'm like, I had to give myself a lot of credit for all the things that I had done
Hmm.
up to that point, put myself through college as a single mom, still working
Oh,
full
wow.
time, working, or still watching my daughter full time with no help. Like,
Exactly.
I did a lot of stuff. So it was just like, wow, like any man out there should be very happy to have me. And then my standards got
Exactly.
so high because I learned to love myself. And now, I'm with somebody who's amazing, and he's an
Hmm.
entrepreneur too. And he actually was the reason that I became an entrepreneur, because he's very
Wow.
successful. So he kind of inspired me to just do it. And he was
Yeah.
always so supportive. Do it, just do it. Quit your job. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay to quit
Yes.
your job. And I'm like, oh my God, quitting my job. It was the scariest thing in the world.
Hmm.
But I'm so glad I did it, because I was not happy at my job, because I founded And Rise, and I knew that this is what I was supposed to do. I had never been sure. I'd always been trying to climb up the corporate ladder. That's why I was in school, because I couldn't get raises and promotions. So I
Right.
was like, well, let me get this degree, because then I could finally move up, because they wouldn't move me up because I didn't have my bachelor's degree. And then finally, I went and I got my degree, and then I became an entrepreneur. So I didn't really even need it anyway. But I'm glad I still went to college, because I wanted to show
Right.
my daughter, this is, the way you do it, 'Cause I
Yes.
do think college opened my eyes in a different way. It exposed me to different ways of thinking that I otherwise would never
Hmm.
have learned. So I'm glad I went. And it was hard, but I also wanted to do it to show myself that I could do it too. So just do those things that you want to accomplish and the men will come. There's so many of them out there. That's the other thing. We think like men are limited and that they're all going to disappear. They're all there and they're always going to be there. There's going to be great ones. There's going to be bad ones, no matter, just focus on you first, and then I think once you love yourself, then you'll be able to find a great person who's going to be able to treat you equally to how you treat yourself, if not better.
Right. Yes. And you'll be able to discern more too. As we like give ourselves that time by ourselves, like you said, not want to go right into another one, but then be able to have that discernment because we've been alone with God enough to know like, something's not right here. And I need to be still and know that I'm God moment and kind of sit in stillness and see what God is telling me about this person,
Very true. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but we don't take that time, then that's what ended up happening. Another one of the things that I noticed that you had mentioned, and I wanted to agree with you 100% on, because of my relationship with my ex, one of the ways that like you said, narcissistic people work, the perfect victim is someone that has low self-esteem or low self-worth. You see what I'm saying? It's like silly putty in their hands. And so when we have that type of brokenness, we're just fair game for like anyone having that type of brokenness to come along. You know what I mean? And in our low self-esteem and low self-worth, whatever it is, like it could be one or two things, and it really can just be one. But that one thing that person has studied about you will be the one thing that they're using as a tool to keep the relationship going. You understand what I'm saying? And I know with me, I had low self-esteem, I had low self-worth. And for some reason, Satan had tricked me into thinking that I deserved to be with him because he was handsome and I was not. And
oh my God, same thing here. Yeah.
The devil tricked me into thinking that.
I thought that he was too good for me. It was so crazy because he was a good looking guy and, he had a nice body, big, good looking. He was going to school to be a doctor. And I was like, I didn't think I was good enough for him. Like, I was just like, oh no, I don't deserve him. So that's why I think I stayed around so long. Cause I was like, I don't deserve this guy. I don't deserve him. I need to work really hard to keep him around and make him happy because I'm not gonna be able to find anybody better than him. That's exactly what I used to think. Then towards the end, I was like, hell no, it's me. I have a good job. I'm going to school. I'm going to be something one day. I'm like, I pay my bills. Like I have good credit. I have a lot going for me. So he is the one that should be like groveling to me, and like, I'm the one that's a catch. And I realized that after the relationship was over, but for a long time, I thought I was the one that was lucky to have him. And all he did was abuse me and take advantage of me financially, he even used to fight with me over presents. If the birthday presents weren't good or if the Christmas presents weren't enough, he used to throw a temper tantrum and send it back. He'd be like, send it back. I don't want it. And I'm like, that's so mean. I've never told even if I hate a present that I get, I would never send it back because that's just cruel. Like it's the thought that counts at the end of the day. And, that's what I was always taught as a kid. It's the thought that counts. And I just was always like, what is wrong with this person? And just found he was very, very entitled. And I think that's another narcissistic trait is that they're very entitled. They just think that everybody has to just bow down to them, that they're this special person. And there was nothing, I don't want to say there's nothing special about them. There were a couple of things, but like not to the point where anybody has to be like, like praising you for everything.
Elevating you, like you said, praising and elevating to God's status. But that's what, because of my own brokenness, that's what I was doing. I ended up doing that.
Yeah. Well, you're not alone. And I think a lot of women can resonate with that too. But that I do think I always say the devil is a liar and it's the devil's job to let you believe those lies. And it's not true because God made us all to be wonderful beings and to all be respected and to all love each other. That's God. God is only goodness and the devil is all the other things, all the lies, all the insecurities, all the things you're unsure of, uncertainty. God is not uncertainty. So always remember that if you're getting these doubts or whatever, just any negative feelings, that's the devil. He's messing with you.
Yeah.
because that doesn't come from God. God is the light, and it's always goodness and positivity and
Yes.
blessings, and the devil is always the opposite, so,
Oh
and that's
my
something that
word.
I wish I would have known back then when I was going through it, but I didn't.
I know what you mean. I have those moments too. I'm like, man, if I knew then what I know now, but I can use it
Yeah.
to help other
Mhm.
people now that I know. How did
Exactly.
community play a role in your healing?
How did community play a role
Mm-hmm.
in my healing?
Yeah.
Um, so believe it or not, when I started the nonprofit, I had
Mhm.
full intentions as I'm going to help all these women, and it's going to be awesome, and I can
Yes.
help them heal. But little did I know that being in that community myself has helped me
Mhm.
heal immensely. Hearing these women's stories, seeing them heal over time has been so healing for me personally. So like just
Wow.
creating these communities, creating these groups, these events that I've held, and just
Mm-hmm.
that community of women that have been through something, or even not. A lot of the women that have come to our events haven't even been through anything, but they're there to just support or to hear about it. And then they
Right.
leave like, wow, I had no idea that this was this type of event, but I'm so happy I came, and
Wow.
just that support, that like I think it's that what is the word called? The confirmation that what
Mm.
I'm doing
Yes.
is helping other people has really helped me heal. Like I said, I've already been on my healing journey for a while. So I never expected to just feel better after, and even the support groups that I still do now, like they're really meant for the other women. But I now I mean, I don't want to say I never looked forward to them, but I really do look forward to them because it's my opportunity to just listen to these people and just help them, and it's just very freeing and healing for me. So just the
Yes.
community that I just creating community around trauma, as weird as that sounds, it's like really
Mm-hmm.
been, because I know in my heart that that's what I'm supposed to be doing, and I know I'm doing the right thing, and I think that's what is healing too, just knowing you're on the right path and you're
Mm-hmm.
finally not questioning, am I supposed to be doing this with my life, or where am I going? Like it's finally, I have confirmation, like this is it. And that I
Right.
think is very healing too. So yeah, community, I do always think that from what I've seen from personal experience of doing what I do, women, not just women, I think it's everyone, but I work with women, so it's just why I keep saying women.
Mm-hmm.
It's always really helpful to be in a space where other people know what you're going through. Because a lot of the times when we disclose things to our friends and family, maybe they haven't gone through it, so they don't really know what to say. Sometimes they might
Right.
say the wrong things, but when you're in this group where women have been through it already, they just know, and they're not judging you, and they're just supporting you, and you're like, oh, I hear it so many times, oh, I love this group because nobody here is judging me, you guys just get it, you
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm going through, and that in and of itself is very healing. And that's, I'm always telling people, come to the group. I know people think it's kind of
Yes.
weird when they hear support group, but it's a beautiful thing. I love
It
it, and
is.
I really make sure that the safe is, or the place, or the space is safe. That's really important to me to make sure, because then these
Mm-hmm.
people will not come back if it's not if it feels unsafe. But just making sure
Yes.
that it's safe, where everybody can
Mm-hmm.
say whatever it is that they need to say, get whatever it is off
Right.
their chest. Sometimes it can be triggering to other people, but most of the time it's
Mm.
not, because a lot of the people understand it. So
Right.
I think that that's very, very healing, and just helpful to know that you're not alone, because a lot of the times we feel like we're alone.
You
I'm the only
sure
one
do.
going through this. Nobody
Yes.
understands, but
Yep.
unfortunately, abuse is very common. So a lot of people out there do understand what you're going through. So I just
Mm-hmm.
think sharing our testimonies is very powerful, and it can be scary at first. I mean, but look at me, I talk about it all the time. I talk about
Yes.
the sexual abuse, the domestic, all the stuff that I've went
Yes.
through. And it's just, I think that's been part of my healing too, just talking about it. And I always say healing is revealing. You got to reveal it, even if it's not to like the world, like me, but reveal it to a partner, or to a best friend,
Mm-hmm.
and I think once, because those secrets eat us alive inside. And the only person that
Yes.
that's another thing, that they eat us alive, and it kills us. It really does, unfortunately. And once we start talking about it and bringing light to it, then, the light always trumps darkness.
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yes, it does. Amen. Now, what would you say to a woman if they came up to you and said, I want my power and identity back?
Yeah. So now that I've like am in the space that I'm at, I always do preach about God, you know, and about
Yes.
finding a church, finding those people that are going to really support you through what you're going through. I think that that's a big thing, is finding people who are like-minded, you know, so because when we're broken, we're going to find broken people, and then you're just going through this broken, you know, like they say, if birds of a feather flock together, broken birds fly
Right.
together, and all the good ones, like, so
Mm-hmm.
finding people that are going to be really supportive of you, and then also just going after the things that you want to do in your life. I know me, I knew I wanted to move up the corporate ladder. I always knew I wanted to be a CEO or have my own business. That's always something that I had been striving for. And just going towards the things that you want to accomplish in your life and just doing it, and stop making excuses. Because a lot of the times, our limiting beliefs stop us from moving forward to our dreams, you know, and
Right.
that's again the devil telling you, no,
Yes.
you can't. No, it's going
Mm-hmm.
to take you. It took me 7 years to finish college, but guess what? I finished it. It took me a long time because I was
Amen.
only
You
going
finished.
part-time, but I just did it. It's all about action and not just contemplating it, but just doing it. And then you start to feel really proud of yourself. You start to feel your self-esteem starts to build up too, because you're
Mm-hmm.
doing things for yourself and for your future. And then if you have kids, then it's for your kids' future too. So it's not just you, oh, I want to do this one day and maybe I'll do it one day. It's you actually doing it, you know. Do it when you're scared. I know that I love that saying, because
Yes.
I've quit my job not knowing what the heck was going to happen, but I did it scared because I just knew inside. I knew that I was meant to do something bigger, and I just followed my instincts, you know, and just follow. I just think God was just really leading me, and I was finally listening. My other problem was I've always been very intuitive, and I
Mm-hmm.
always heard God, but there came a point in time where I became very angry at him. So I stopped listening on purpose. I would hear the
Gotcha.
little nudge, don't do that, don't go there, don't talk to that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, whatever, be quiet. And I just go
Mm-hmm.
and do it, and then I get myself into trouble. But once I started listening to that voice again, it was leading me towards the light, towards where I was supposed to go. I was listening to the intuition, you know, those feelings, those gut vibes, the universe,
Yes.
whatever it is that you want to call it. And
Yes.
then it got me to where I'm at. This is all because I've been led here, because I was listening to the voice. And but for a long time though, I ignored it because I was like, whatever.
But I'm not intact to be sharing all of that. You took the price to give me that life, and now it's never gonna fade away. When I see I need more of him, he whispers the sweetest of mercies upon my ears, and I won't go back the way it was again, again, again. And now, a valley of grace where things would change. I've seen the light, so